Welcome. I'm your host, Dustin.
And I'm your co-host, Dean of the Dead.
Yes, you are on time this time, my friend.
Oh, I am just every week, every time we get back on to this podcast, I'm just nailing it a little bit more.
Yep, and you know what? Eventually, you're going to be the main host, and I'm going to be the co-host.
Never, man. Never in a million years,
Oh,
dude.
come on, you can do it, man. So we were giving a very unique and awesome opportunity to watch a Argentina splatterfest zombie crazy movie called PussyCake. We were giving an early screener from the lovely folks over at ScreamBox, which this movie will be streaming on their service August 30th. And also, ScreamBox offers a 30-day free trial. So if you are looking to add to your streaming services and you want something fresh that may have a little bit more to offer than Shudder does, I would definitely would say go to ScreamBox. I've been obsessed with ScreamBox since I think I discovered it with the Pennywise documentary I was telling you about, Dean.
Yeah,
And we
am I right?
actually talked to the guys about that too.
Am I right in thinking it's a part of Bloody Disgusting as well, right?
Yes, yeah, I'm pretty sure from everything that I have been reading and being told is that Bloody Disgusting is a big part of this. And when you watch these films, they even have the Bloody Disgusting
That's
um,
awesome, man.
thing come up. So
That's so cool. I did wonder because Bloody Disgusting's huge and bloody awesome as well. And I was, for a while I was thinking that they should, because I know they had like Bloody Disgusting TV or something like that where they were showing movies. But the fact that they've now got their own channel, which is kind of, I guess you could call it's going to be a bit of a rival to Shudder, but
oh,
not a
for
rival. Just
sure.
like it's going to have like because when Shudder came around, I was like, this is the horror Netflix, man. This is great. This is what us horror fans fucking want. This is what we need. It's what we want. And now we've got another service that's going to do the same, but it's going to have different movies and different exclusives. I'm like, come on, bring it on, man. Just give us more and more and more horror. And exclusives are great. Like this Pussycake batshit film, which is absolutely fucking awesome. I loved it.
Yeah,
Um, the fact that we're getting movies like this as an exclusive, come on, man.
yeah. And for anybody who's
Right.
listening, since this movie isn't out yet, we're gonna have a like 10 or 15 minute spoiler-free section of just our overall thoughts and what you're gonna be expecting when it gets released on August 30th. Um,
Oh boy.
this it is definitely a crazy movie. And to kind of go back with it being Screenbox being a rival to Shudder, that's a really good thing. Competition is a great thing.
It really is, man.
Um,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, so like just imagine what we're going to be seeing now with there being two different horror oriented streaming services out there, all these other exclusives, and the battles that are going to be happening. Everybody's going to be
Oh,
pushing the limits.
they're gonna be keeping each other on their toes,
Oh
man.
yeah, and I love watching like foreign films, especially in the horror world, because you get to have a little bit of like their culture. You learn
Yes.
from that, and Pussycake definitely has that. It's a
Can you,
bonkers movie.
can you think of any other Argentinian horror films? Is there any others that spring to mind? I know we've got like Wreck is Spanish, right? There, that's
Mm,
Spanish movie. European horror is great, man. There's some fantastic French horror. There's some brilliant German horror, Spanish horror with the Wreck films and whatnot. Argentinian horror?
I don't think it's that big because this is really the first time I've heard or seen anything being promoted from Argentina in this kind of scale. And that's another thing I really have to give props to Screenbox is that they are about all of their film.
Mhm.
They're not just like, hey, here's one and I want you to watch this one like Shutter kind of does. Like they always like pick like here's like the hot movie right now. The
Mm.
Screenbox is like, hey, this movie's going to be coming out, but can you go check out these other films that also came out? And going on
Yeah,
their app or on desktop, their wheel that they have and the whole like front screen, it's awesome. They show you like all these new things that they just added, kind of like how
yeah,
Shutter does, but it's more in your face, but in a good way. I just
great.
love the whole aesthetic and even like their logo sound when Screenbox comes on and it's the knife and it slashes through. It
Very
it
cool.
feels so
Yeah.
80s.
I love that, man. That's so cool. That's so cool. There was a film. talking about Argentinian horror, and I don't know if this was Argentinian horror on Shudder called Terrified. I think it was called. Was that? Do you know the film? I mean,
I know what you're talking about. And I don't really remember where it was from.
I feel like
But
that
I
was
did see that
Argentinian.
movie,
I
and it
could
was
be
pretty
wrong.
good. It was good.
That was pretty good, man. There's some really good scenes in that, but we're not here to talk about that. Obviously, we are here to talk about PussyCake, man.
PussyCake. Just the name alone, like that sells, man. That
Well, I gotta say,
sells.
when you sent me over the we again big thanks to ScreamBox for sending us over the screener. When I looked at the cover poster, I didn't know what to expect. I was like, because it's so colorful and it's so
Yeah.
trippy. And it's just like, and then I kind of figured that they were a band. We can go on and talk about, the whole vibe of the movie in a minute. But then you had this kind of like character standing behind him in the poster, and I was just, and then a couple of other things going on, and I was like, I literally had no idea what kind of a movie that was going to be based on the poster. And then when I started watching it, and then then you sort of get halfway through the film, and I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it definitely puts you through the ringer a little bit. They've been
Yeah.
kind of advertising this as an Evil Dead like movie, and it has that.
I was going to say, man, there's some really strong, for me personally, there's some really strong nods to the Evil Dead for sure.
Yeah.
28
Predator?
days, 28 days later.
Oh yeah.
And they also reference that there's a scene in the film where I think they kind of bust into, is it a club or something, right? I can't think. Anyway, they're in a room, and one of the girls goes to a fridge, and she opens the fridge up, and then as she closes the fridge, I'm pretty sure there's a 28 days later poster on the fridge.
I don't know if I caught that one. I think I was just really trying to pay attention to everything. And this is the beauty of movies, right? Is like you can rewatch them over and over again, and you always find something new. So when this drops, I'm gonna have to watch it again just for that.
Oh yeah. I'll tell you another thing that I really strong vibes I was getting from it was early Peter Jackson.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Some real, especially with all the gore and the splatter and like and they're kind of almost done in that kind of Evil Dead slapstick kind of way, but also very early Peter Jackson brain dead vibes, that little bit bad taste in places. I was getting some real strong early Peter Jackson vibes, which will, I think, really for fans of Peter Jackson, of which there are many, I feel like they'll love this.
I would just say if you're a gore hound, this is your film.
Dude, you can imagine watching this in a cinema like with a bunch of horror fans, and everyone would just be cheering and whooping.
Film Horror Fest, you know what you got to do now.
Oh God, you have to play this movie.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. It was such a fun, colorful movie, and I didn't, from the word go, I think it kind of starts, and they're panning across this kind of like, and this is when the opening scenes kind of panning across this like really idyllic beach kind of resort, and I was thinking,
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. I'm thinking, where's this film? This isn't American or English, I don't think. And then it kind of starts out with this we see this boy whose father's gone missing, and so these like newspaper. Are we all right to talk about this now? These aren't spoilers, right? I guess we're just going into.
I mean, we kind of gave our gist about everything and how we felt about it and like our references. But I think that's completely fine. I mean, we can jump right into it right now. People only have to wait like another week to watch this. So I mean, yeah, if you want to sign off right now, this is definitely a movie that you need to watch once it drops. It has a lot of references, obviously, to other films and everything, and that helps the film a lot. But it's also just a really bonkers film, and it kind of goes all over the place, but in a very, very good way. So yeah, if you want to sign off on this episode now, that's completely fine. Just make sure you come back when the movie comes to ScreamBox, so that way you can listen to all the other shit we have to say. But if you want to listen to the whole thing, well, you've been warned. We are going into spoilers. Yeah, Dean, go ahead, kick it off, man.
Well, yeah, no, it's just so it opens up on the sort of beach, and that's what I was thinking. Oh, where is this shot? And then it kind of we cut to this kid kind of sitting at his computer, and then the subtitles start coming through. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is a foreign horror, and then we see like the newspaper clippings that his kid's got
Yeah.
up on his corkboard. So I was like, okay. And then I sort of figured out his dad's gone missing, and then he kind of walks off into this like massive laboratory.
Yeah, and
Like,
also the
where is
mother
he?
too.
Yeah,
You can tell that there something obviously happened to the father. We kind of got like an idea maybe from some of the photos that he was a scientist or
yeah,
something like that.
that's right. Yeah,
The mother's crying in the bathtub, and I was confused with the son. I was like, is he a hacker? Was he a coder? And also, he had like a laptop that was next to him too, which had
yeah.
like somebody on it, and he closed it, and then that's when he left. So
Then he goes and he starts kind of tinkering around with what I'm guessing was his dad's invention,
yeah.
and then I'm guessing it's like some sort of like portal
Yeah,
something.
it's really cool because I was like, oh, is this a time machine? Like this has got to be
Yeah,
a time machine or something.
it's like Stargate. It's got that kind of Stargate vibe,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
big
yeah.
circle. It was really bizarre, but still at this point, I'm thinking, okay, I still have no idea where this movie's heading. You know, like, judging by the front cover poster, going back to that, and the four chicks and everything else, and I'm just like, where does this kid and this
Yeah,
machine fit into this? Um, but yeah, Dustin, I'll let you explain what happens next because this is where you're like, okay,
yeah. Like the portal, it kind of like glitches a little bit. So he's like, oh, it didn't work. And he's also wearing this like really cool sunglasses. I guess it was like really bright. And then it pops back in, and then like it just surges. And the guy's just like, what the hell? And then I think we start like hearing moaning or something upstairs. So he goes to look, and he's like, oh, it's my dad. And then it's not his dad, but it is. He's just like from another reality. It's like what I was thinking was like he was pulled from somewhere and made him all fucked up. Like he was like a zombie.
spewing all this goo and shit.
Yeah, I called it all like milk vomit. There's a lot of milk vomit in this
Oh
film.
man, yeah. That's what made me think of Peter Jackson, that real kind of vomity,
Yeah.
vomit kind of. Oh yeah, it's great, man.
Yeah.
Do not eat your dinner.
No.
Or you won't want to eat your dinner after watching this movie.
No.
Eat before you watch this movie.
Another thing that I was a little confused by, but I understand it, I guess, is because the mother also got turned.
Yeah.
So was it like he pulled from another reality? Did he fast forward? Like I was a bit confused.
That confused me as well. Yeah, yeah. Because I was thinking, was that his mum as well? Because a minute ago she was in the bath.
Yeah.
But yeah, that confused me a little bit as well.
And
but,
and then we get jumped to a rock show.
Yes, and then I was like, right, okay.
It's like, okay, so this is where our four main chicks come in.
Yeah, and they look like a cool band, man. They're on stage.
I'd go see
out,
them for
like,
sure.
I'd go and see them. Where they're like a bit like a kind of Joan Jett and the Runaways kind of vibe, like a young hip band. You know, the singer's got this kind of really cool, big furry coat on that's got all these like fairy lights inside it, man. I was thinking, shit, I'd wear that on stage. That looks great. And then at the end of the one of the tracks they play, like the drummer licks a drumstick and like throws it into the audience.
Yeah, it's so badass. I love that shit.
And then they were going down and like signing autographs, and then we learned that the lead singer has got this guy in the front row kind of gropes her a bit, and then she kind of taps out, and I think she starts having flashbacks to like an abusive ex-partner.
Yeah, definitely some PTSD right there. And she even has like that conversation of feeling vulnerable with I believe it's Sarah, who we learn that Ellie is the main singer, right? And then Sarah is the drummer, and they're like in a relationship. You gather that a little bit by little, but that's what it seems like. She's just very overprotective, is what it seems like. And I mean, that's fine, especially with Ellie having like these problems. But you can also tell that Ellie's like, you just need to kind of just go back a little bit. Like I'm happy that you're here for me, but also like give me a little bit of breathing room, you know.
Cool, yeah. But that's where the movie title comes from as well, PussyCake, because that's the name of the band.
Yeah,
that's the name of the band.
Great name.
Yeah, it really is, man. And then all of the band members are like, I think the singer's Ella Cake, and the bassist, who's the hottest one, I think, with the big lion mane hair,
Yeah.
Sophie Cake, and Sarah Cake on the drums, and then the tripped out lunatic on guitar is Julie Cake.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're great, man. They're fun. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, their looks are so badass. So
Yeah,
props on everybody who worked on wardrobe and makeup for this film.
absolutely, man. They've got a kick-ass tour bus as well.
Yeah, I want this to be a real band. I really hope that
Dude, I can see figures and everything, man. He has little figures and
yeah,
stuff. You know?
Screenbox. Come on, help them get that shit. I'll buy that. I want this stuff on my wall. And you know
Yeah,
what's really
absolutely.
funny too is like it's obviously a completely different film, but I get a lot of like revealer love for this film, like meaning from like the crew and everything. Like it gives me that vibe, and I'm happy that films keep kind of giving me like this family dynamic
Yeah.
when it comes to filmmaking, and it's not like butting heads all the time. And you can tell that there's a lot of love and there's a lot of
Oh
nods
yeah,
to other films. A lot of stuff was put into this.
yeah. Especially like the wardrobe, like you just mentioned, man.
Oh
There's a lot
yeah, for
gone into
sure.
the look, like the look of the band, and even down to them, someone having recorded them some tracks, so they're an actual
Yeah.
proper band, and the band manager and the whole back. So it's just it's a great look, man. I love it.
Yeah, and I think we also start to gather that Julie, I think, is like the not drug addict, but she really likes her LSD.
She likes to party, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
she likes to
she's
party.
always doing some acid drops.
We'll come to that particular scene in a minute where shit goes down. But this is why another reason why I like this movie on so many different levels. But the beginning intro with the kid we were talking about before was kind of weird, and then a bit like ooh, and then it cuts to this scene and it's all kind of fun,
Yeah.
party, a bit kind of glossy. But the shit is about to really go down in a really trippy, weird, nasty way. But
Mm.
because they get in the tour bus and I think they're heading to another show to do another show or something like that, or sign a record
Yeah,
deal.
their agent, oh my, Pato, I guess is like their agent and knows somebody,
Simon, they're going to see this guy
Simon.
Simon, right? As the van's sort of traveling the tour bus, then we get that glitch again. That it kind of hits the glitch, which I presume that they'd gone entered through that a portal of sorts.
Yeah,
And that's when that's when I thought, oh, I reckon this is going to be what they're when they get out of the van. It's going to be similar to what we saw in the intro with the boys' mum and dad. Like
yeah.
they've gone through this time portal thing or whatever it is. Never really explains it. I don't
No,
think.
but I think that's a good thing though, because that would have wasted too much time. I
Yeah, I
feel like
agree.
getting straight to the point and being like thrown into this maybe other world, and also leaves
Yeah,
you to think about like how we're doing and like where are we? What's happening? I think
yeah,
that's a really really brilliant thing, because nowadays movies spoon feed you everything. They tell you
yeah.
everything,
And
and
you
that's
tap
why
out
I
the
really
yawn.
like this film. I feel like it doesn't do that.
There was no real yawn moments where there was no real like, oh, we don't need to know all this shit moments. It was just fun. I think
Yeah,
right the way through. It was very colourful. It was very fun. It was well paced, and it cuts to the gore quite earlier on with the intro scene, but then when it cuts, then the whole band scene's real fun, and then when they come into this, they hit that glitch and they come into this sort of almost like they're like a ghost town. So they get out the van and they walk to the destination to find this Simon guy. They must have walked a long way, man, because it was nighttime when they get out and
yeah,
walk in the van, and it's
for
like
sure.
daytime when they get there.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
but yeah, they get there and this club's all closed up and stuff. So this is where we realize, yeah, they must be in this like alternate universe because everywhere's like a ghost town. There's no one around.
yeah.
This place is all closed up and everywhere's really quiet. So kind of they start to think what's going on.
Another thing too is that this film has a lot of comical moments too to break up with all like the really crazy things that happen. There's a lot of really funny parts,
Yeah,
um, and there's one that comes up when we get to Simon. But before we get to that, we have to talk about the scene that kind of starts really everything is the LSD trip going to the
yes.
beach, which is so nutty. Yeah,
Because it goes so corny for a minute like this. So Julie Cake, the
yeah,
guitarist, yeah, yeah, she like takes another tab, and then she's like, I'm gonna head on down to the beach, and then we kind of get this like really corny kind of music, and she's like dancing
And the
around, and
colors are changing, like you're watching like an old like 70s movie or something, where like going
yeah,
through like a trip. It's awesome.
almost like I guess a bit of Hen and Lotta in there as well. You
Oh
could
yeah,
say
for sure. I can see that. Yeah.
definitely a bit of Hen and Lotta in there, but then it just like it's all really kind of glossy and a bit cheesy almost, but then it just goes really dark again
Yeah.
because she comes across, she's dancing around on the beach, and then she kind of comes across a section of the beach. And I love this bit, man. This is so fucking cool. With all these heads.
Yeah.
Just
You're like,
like,
what's going on here?
it's really weird, but it's so cool. And I love stuff like this. Yeah, all these heads like buried in all these bodies buried in the sand, but just their heads kind of sticking out. And
Yeah.
yeah, and then yeah, I'll let you go, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like she sees all the heads, and then I think there's a quote unquote zombie. I don't really know what to call them. Uh,
Yeah.
like that's another thing is like you can call them whatever you want because they don't even address them. They just say it's a person, or they say, "Hey, that's Simon."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a zombie that we we don't really see, but we know that she definitely got attacked. Because then it goes back to I think it's
Yeah.
Pato and Sarah are teamed up right now, I believe,
Yeah,
or is
yeah.
it
They all
the other
start kind
one?
of yeah, they'll start breaking up, don't they? They're trying to figure out where the hell everyone is and where Simon is, and this guy's
Yeah,
Simon, and
yeah.
you
So
know, then
they managed to get to his house, and then they find um I think a bunch of blood on the floor, and they all like fall, which is also kind of funny too.
yeah,
Uh,
they see like the goo dripping down from the ceiling at first, don't they? And
yeah,
they're
and they
like,
smell it, and they're like, ugh. It was like
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, and then they slip over on the blood,
Yeah.
and then there's like
Um.
one of these kind of zombie bodies on the floor, and it's really creepy looking as well. And then they're like, what the fuck? And then like,
Yeah. Uh.
okay. That's the
and
scene where you see the 28 days thing on the fridge. They're
yes,
looking in the
yeah,
fridge, and you see like it's the red front cover with the like the biohazard symbol. And I was like, okay, yeah, yeah. Because when you see the zombie characters, they look very similar to the zombies in 28 Days Later, and they move really quickly and aggressively like them as well.
yeah.
I think that's where they've tried to kind of, I don't know whether it's an intentional thing where they wanted to make the them kind of aggressive and move quickly like 28 Days Later, or whether it's they made it and then thought,
It's
wow, you know,
definitely refreshing because not that many movies have done that.
yeah,
With zombies, you know. And I think Julie manages to get back, and she's like talking about I think that the heads, like, oh, there was heads or whatever.
but she's
And
spewing herself by this point. She's like spewing out this goo at that point,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
All
she
her eyes
looks
are
fucked
fucked up.
up. Yeah, she's definitely
Yeah.
fucked up.
And I
Um,
think she's taken too many drugs. I
yeah, no.
think it's because she's like overdosed or something. But
Uh, and then I think they finally stumble upon Simon, but no one knows what's really going on. So Pato screams to Simon. This part was cracking me up.
yeah,
The way he was moving was
yeah.
so fucking funny, dude. And how he was like running and everything was so funny. Um, and then we see him like do like the milk vomit. I think there was somebody else on the other side of the street. This is like when I get really fuzzy. I've only watched the movie once.
Yeah,
And I think it's when they're still all together and they're trying to get Simon, and then I think he does something, and then they split up again, and then a car alarm happens. I believe. I think
yeah,
they want to go back and get Simon or something, so they leave two of them there, and I think it's Pato and not Sarah. It's the bassist. I think I forget her name.
oh, Sophie Cake.
Yeah, Sophie. I think it's Sarah and Sophie who are together, or something like that. Whatever it may be.
Yeah,
Um,
they keep splitting up, don't they? So it's quite difficult to keep tabs on who's where.
yeah,
um, yeah, but he got they see Simon. You see this kind of thing on the top of his head,
yeah. You're like, what is that?
which again is like a Hanenlotter kind of vibe, like a brain damage kind of thing. I think it's
Yeah.
definitely a nod to that as well. Which I haven't seen anyone mention in any reviews. No one's really picked up on the Hanenlotter. I've heard a lot of 28 Days Later, Evil Dead, and Predator.
Yeah, Predator.
Um,
That's a heavy one. When we get to the dude, that one's so
yeah,
blatant. That's so
Yeah,
blatant that Predator was an influence on something on here.
yeah. And he's got this this kind of like almost looks like a giant woodlouse on top of his head. I don't know what it is, but and is it what's the manager's name? Is that
Oh,
Pat?
Pato, yeah, Pato.
Yeah, so she is trying to kind of get through to him, right? I think, and
Yeah,
then
was
then
trying, and then I
she
have it written
pulls.
here. It was Sarah, Pato, and Simon. So those are the ones that are at the car, and it's Sophie and Ellie who are with Julie, because I think at this point she's knocked out. So they're at that other house, and the
Yeah,
alarms keep going off, and they want to go help, but then it starts to turn into a Sarah versus Simon versus Pato thing,
yeah.
and then I think Pato eventually kills Simon, and then they get back to the house, and they
No,
kind
doesn't
of
she does a really good kill there? I think she goes to get a pen out of her hair,
yeah,
and then she stabs him. No, because so she stabs him in the back of the head into this like giant woodlouse thing,
yeah,
and then he basically and then he pulls it out of his head, and then he spews in her face all this kind of white milk goo,
and
and
rips
then
out
he
her stomach.
rips her open with a pen, and I was like, that was fucking awesome. And
That
then
was
that's
really really
her
cool.
finish, man. But she's literally just lying on the floor in a pool of like entrails.
Yeah, so you're really just
Brilliant.
introduced to these characters, and they're already dying.
Oh
No,
yeah,
like
yeah. Oh,
nobody's safe in this film.
it pulls zero punches. This movie, man, when it gets going, and it gets going fairly quickly.
Yeah, it does. I love the whole like house dynamic of them trying to make sure Julie's okay, but they also need to and they're also going to find weapons, and also being stalked by this unknown figure. That's what I
Well,
kind of called him.
let's talk about this guy. Like he shows up, and we just kind of see him in
Yeah, and
a
he like creates this weird noise too, like his gadgets or something on him, like make like
yeah,
almost like a chirping noise, so when he's like nearby.
yeah,
Um, I'm confused if he is meant to be a good guy, and they just keep
yeah,
going after him because they have no idea what's going on.
yeah. That's what I thought as well.
I
Because
was like,
he
he's
goes
trying to
after,
help you. Like, just let him do his thing. But they just don't. They keep
yeah,
going
like
after him.
he's
You
going
know?
out, he's trying to kill the zombie creatures, but then they're trying to kill him. I'm like, just let him do his thing. He never
Yeah.
really seems to go after the girls after the band. So I
Yeah.
thought the same. I was trying to catch his vibe. I couldn't work out if he was a bad guy or a good guy.
Yep. 1 second, Dean. Go ahead, Dean.
Yeah, so I couldn't work out if he was a bad guy or a good guy. That was confusing me a bit, but yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, not a lot of this movie doesn't make sense,
Yeah.
but not in a bad way. Like it's just it is what it is. It's an alternate universe where there's weird milky puking zombies and weird woodlouse brain head things. So it doesn't have to make sense.
Yeah.
And it never really explains what it is or what's going on.
Good thing. To
Which is
me,
a good
that's a
thing.
good thing.
Well, it leaves it wide open for a part two, and I'd love to see a part two of this, man. I'd love to see him
But they kind
expand.
of lead to that there might be,
Yeah,
at the end.
yeah,
But we'll obviously get to that.
yeah.
But it's also kind of cool to realize where the girls are at this point, is that we find out that they're at the house from the beginning. And
Yes,
this is
that's right.
one
Yes.
thing that this is my theory, is the unknown figure guy is the kid.
Okay.
I
All
think
right.
he's the kid. And
Oh,
something happened, that maybe he grabbed all his stuff, maybe he got morphed because he was. But then again, you're like, how is that possible? Because we saw him, approaching his father and his mother. But I was interpreting it. This is the kid, and he's trying to maybe get rid of what he did. That's the only thing that I'm
okay.
kind of like, I don't know, getting from that.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't think that at all. I didn't, but now you mention it, I can see that. Although he's, yeah, I don't know.
He's
Like he's
huge and he aged a lot, but
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, yeah. Like, have they jumped way into the future or something when he's older, or has he
yeah.
kind of? mutated into this kind of hench predator-esque
Hmm.
kind of character. I love the fact that he's got like a cape on that's got like
Yeah,
half the
it's so cool.
Coca-Cola sign. Like
Yeah.
it's like, it's made out of a Coca-Cola flag
Yeah,
or
I love
something.
that. I love his whole aesthetic. I mean, it's borrowing from a lot of other things, but
Like
he's a
Mad
really
Maxy as
cool
well.
character. I want his mask.
Again, a good figure. He could get a really good figure and a great mask. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, but while they're chilling at the house, another slime monster is what I was calling them. The head leech things
Oh
comes out
yeah.
of the toilet, and then Julie goes into the other room. No, not Julie. Sorry. Sophie goes into the other room to get food. And this is where it's kind of funny to me because they were really focusing on the food a lot. I'm like, what are they trying to do? Like a food porn ad here
He
with her
makes it
making a
this
sandwich?
he makes it this really well put together sandwich and a really nice, pristine looking glass of milk.
Yeah, and forgets her knife too, which they kind of hold on to that for a little bit. Um,
What made me laugh is when she's sitting on the sofa and she's feeding. Oh, I can't remember who the one. Is it? I think
Julie.
it's Julie, right? Yeah, she's trying to feed her the sandwich and give her the milk. And then when the zombie thing comes in the room, she just throws her on the floor.
Yeah, yeah.
Pushes
She's like,
her off her
oh, I
lap
guess you
and
don't want
yeah,
it.
and then it throws her on the floor and spills the milk everywhere. That cracked me up. That
Yeah,
was funny.
that was funny. And then there's like a slight jump scare right there because then the creature latches. Uh, but then we jump back to the other girls who are now coming back. One has like a crossbow. Um, the other one has what the hell does the other one have for a weapon? I forget. Was it a machete?
I think so. Yeah, I can't
It was
remember.
something. It was like a maybe a bat or a machete or something like that. And then
I feel like it was, in fact, I feel like it was a machete because she starts hacking away at her face, didn't she?
yeah, yeah. And then we kind of get like a frame or two of Sophie kind of just like standing there, and we're like, okay, she's definitely taken over. But the other girls are like, hey, are you okay? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Um, and
That's
then
very Evil Dead. It's very Deadite-y, that
yeah,
scene. I
yeah,
feel.
yeah. It is. It's a machete and there's a cleaver that they have. I have written down here in my notes.
Yeah,
So
because it's Sophie Cake. Yeah, she's the one that gets the thing stuck to her head, and then she starts turning, and it's very kind of Deadite-esque. I feel,
the
and
makeup is amazing.
it's incredible. Yeah, it really is, man. The effects and the makeup and the gore in this film are fantastic, man. Very, like, again, like I was saying, that Evil Dead, Peter Jackson, early Peter Jackson,
Yeah,
totally, totally like that, in that ballpark, man. It's
for
for
sure.
fans of those movies and those, that director. They're gonna love this.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna love
Um,
this.
and this is when we kind of get the actual reveal of the unknown finger dude because after the girls are fighting and it kind of dies down a little bit and then he comes in and goes after Sophie, but none of the other girls are attacking him because they're like, what's going on, like, get away from my friend, and that kind of way. But then she's
Mm,
also like taken over, so it's like kind of let him do what they want, so they decide to attack him. Then
mm.
he leaves, and then we get like the predator heal, like the iconic, I'm gonna take out my healing salve and jab it in here and
Yeah.
so
Oh yeah, yeah.
that's like directly out of Predator, which is awesome. I love it a lot.
There's so many nods to so many great films.
Oh yeah.
But it's also very unique. It's definitely its own movie.
It is. It takes you for a ride, and I love movies that do that, where you're not staying still for too long. There's always something happening, and this is a film that definitely does that, where you're
It's
constantly like, what's going on, what's
oh, it's
happening
like
right now.
it's like a really crazy dream.
That's a
Like
good
a
way to put it
really
too.
strange, crazy dream where you wake up and go, "That was a fucking weird dream I just had." Heads
Yeah.
in the sand and weird predator creatures and a band and a kid and a zombie, like vomiting zombie punks, and yeah,
Vomiting zombie punks. Yeah.
it's like a really weird dream.
There was also
Yeah.
a really funny bitch slap that the figure guy does to I think Sarah, who tries to get up and he like slaps her and like knocks her out. Then he eventually takes Julie to like this park or something and like ties her up and cuts open her stomach and has a bunch of
Yeah.
eggs.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
also a really weird thing too. It's like, what the fuck is happening
And
in
then,
this
yeah, 'cause
movie?
they, when she gets down off of wherever she is, she tries to put them back into her stomach, doesn't she? She's trying to like
Yeah, yeah.
that was weird. I didn't quite get that bit. That was a strange bit. But again, yeah, I mean, maybe it doesn't mean anything. It's just weird for
It's
weird
like,
sake.
give me back my eggs, kind of thing. Like they're my babies essentially, and we get a lot of like funny like crossbow play with them trying to like reload it every single time, and it takes them like 5 minutes to do it, and then they put the thing in. They
Mm.
have some pretty good aim, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
For using a crossbow, damn.
I
Slight
love
zombie
that.
fight there too.
I love the way he takes Julie out, man. He just slices her head clean in half.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, with the thing that like injects her head, it was really
Yeah.
funny. I was like, what the hell kind of thing is that? It's like a knife, but something
Yeah.
else. It was very futuristic, and that's why
Yeah,
I
it's
liked it
like
a lot.
yeah, very kind of Mad Maxy as well. Like
Yeah,
it's
there's
got
so
their
many
own kind
things,
of.
and like,
It really is, man. Yeah,
and
it's such a weird, unique movie. It's batshit, but I like the more we're talking about it, and I'm thinking back on it now, the more I'm like, yeah, I want to watch this again now.
yeah, for sure. We also get another predator heal. He takes another salve and heals himself. Because I think they chopped off his hand, or really damaged it. Because he puts it in his arm. Fully zombified, and then we finally get to, I guess, like the big um scene is with Sarah buried in
Oh
the
yeah,
beach, and Ellie's knocked out. She's kind of been knocked out a lot, I believe, throughout this whole film, and she's like in a pile of bodies. But you're also thinking like, why are those people not buried and these people are buried? So there's
yeah,
a lot of questions that you ask yourself, but it's
yeah,
like
true, yeah.
then again, it's nothing bad. It's just like you want the answers, but you kind of want to keep thinking about it and be like, why is this not like
Yeah,
this
there's like a
or
whole beach full of people buried with their heads sticking out of the sand, and then there's just a pile of people here. Like, why are they
yeah,
not down too? Yeah, I know, yeah.
yeah, and then Julie is like going around and she's like vomiting on everybody, so it's like she's picking certain like people who deserve to maybe be impregnated. I guess that's the way to kind of say it, because essentially that's what they do with the vomit. It turns them and also gives them a bunch of eggs in their stomach.
I think she's only picking. So everyone else seems to be like either passed out or dead. So she's only really going to the people that are still kind of moving around. So there's one guy that's kind of moving around, and then she goes over and she vomits in his face.
Yeah,
And then there's another guy that's moving around, and she goes over and she snaps his neck.
yeah,
And
that
you're
was really
like,
cool.
oh yeah, that made me like, oh, because I'm really funny about neck snaps and twists. They really made me wince. And then you see, is it Sarah who's
Yeah,
buried?
Sarah's the one that's buried. Yeah,
Yeah. So then because she's obviously kind of like looking over to try and signal to Ellie to
yeah,
say like, "Hey, wake
yeah.
up.
Like Ellie, over here, come on.
Yeah, yeah, and then you're thinking, shut up, because she's you're next, man. They obviously respond to like sound and movement and stuff, and like with the car alarm and stuff, so they respond to sound and um, yeah, yeah. That whole beach head thing is
So weird. You never
so
seen that
good.
before. At least I've never seen that before.
No, man, it's so good. Like it's so good. I wonder how they actually did that. I wonder if they did just bury a load of people in the sand.
I'd be
Must have
buried. Go ahead, do it. um,
very cool, very trippy, very weird, very different, very unique,
yeah.
very different in the horror genre, man. It's just like, yeah, I've not seen a movie like this. I really haven't.
Me either. And then once again, the figure guy comes and like saves the day, but instead of like letting him do what he needs to do, they attack him again. You can see that he's not attacking them. He's going after these zombie things
Yeah,
and trying to get rid of them because he knows like the thing on the back of their head. He's got to kill them and take that stuff off. But they keep
yeah.
attacking him,
You know
which
what, man?
brings him to
Yeah,
eventually go and attack them.
yeah.
After all this, because like I just had enough of it.
We need to get the guys on the show and have them explain.
Yes, for sure, for sure. I want to hear
We
what
should
their
set
thought
that
process was.
up. Oh yeah, definitely, man.
We get another decapitation, and then the forest scene of them running. which I saw this coming. I'm like, someone's gonna trip and someone's gonna get hurt. Sure enough, Sarah trips and gets a giant piece of a tree like through her stomach.
Yeah,
And then Ellie has to go and hunt for the predator heel, as I'm going to call it.
yeah. Because she's like, stay there, because if you move, you come out, you're going to bleed out. So
Yeah, yeah,
stay
yeah.
there. And that's kind of where it leaves us.
Yeah, it ends with like, Ellie having to go and essentially kill the figure guy who was there to, I thought, to save the day, to finally, help everybody. And
Yeah,
then Sarah is gone. But Ellie has the healing thing, and then she stabs it into Sarah to hopefully maybe reverse what was happening to her and also heal her, is what I thought. And then she sees a thing on her head and pulls it off, but Sarah dies anyway.
yeah.
And there's like that cliche thing from that everybody does, and Ellie's like telling Sarah like, hey, Sarah, it's me, Ellie. You know I'm here. Look inside yourself. Turn it
Yeah.
around. Fight it and whatnot. But no, that doesn't happen. Ellie ends up killing the bug, and then we get the scene of her walking on the street, and it kind of just right there.
Because the thing is, like, when because they're so like, they're obviously such a great camaraderie between them all.
Yeah.
And a great love between them all. But when they turn and they have to kill them, they don't fuck around. They're not like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm killing this person.
No, they're just like, I'm going to kill you.
No. They're just like, nope, take this, slice.
I don't want to be that.
Yeah, that scene at the end, she's like, even though this is the person that she loves, she has no problem fucking hacking her to death and just walking off, strolling down the main road, And then that's where it leaves us, man. And then when it finished there, I was like, there's so many questions. And where is she going? Where are they still? Like, where are they? Where is this universe? But like you said, it is a good thing because it leaves it wide open for part 2.
You know what we need? Comic book tie-in.
Oh, and that's another thing, man. Figures, comic books. Oh, there's something very a cult classic has been created here, I think.
Yeah, I kind of wish though that they were using their instruments as weapons. I really wanted them to end up doing that, but they didn't, because they left everything at the van. Cool. So they ditched everything there. But yeah, this was a ride. Very, really very good ride. One that I'm really looking forward to watching once it comes out again. Well, when it comes out, not again, but when it.
Oh, for sure, man. I would say it's definitely not going to be for everyone. You're going to get those real serious heads out there like, oh, this didn't make sense, and what was it, But dude, it's just it's fun. It's slapstick in places. It's a complete splatterfest. Like, for gore lovers and fans of all the movies that we've mentioned already.
Yeah.
You could sit in a movie theater full of horror fans cheering and whooping and screaming at so many different parts of this movie. It's just it's fun and it's batshit mental, but it's great. I've never seen anything. Honestly, I've seen some crazy movies, but this was different again.
Yeah, for sure.
It's different. Yeah, I finished the movie and I was just like, okay, that was different. No, I loved it, man. I really, really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. And like, seriously, thank you to ScreamBox for
yeah,
messaging me and being like, hey, do you want a screener? This is great. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was definitely a bonkers movie. One that I think everybody needs to watch, especially if you're a fan of foreign horror movies and being thrown into the world of weird, because this was definitely a weird one. I wasn't expecting it. I think I was expecting more of a traditional straight up slasher.
Yep.
Hold on 1 second, Dean. Yeah, so it's definitely a bonkers movie. Very, very colorful. But like I was saying, I think it's more what I was expecting, a traditional straight up like slasher. Like, this is what it's gonna be. They're gonna be hunkered down in a building and they're gonna have to fight at a music hall. That's what I was expecting. Since it's a band is how it's really being advertised. About, I think it's just the whole first like 10 minutes, not even, um, of the film was very weird and thrown off because you're like, where is this gonna go? And then eventually goes to the band part. You
Yeah,
know? So
yeah,
it definitely it throws you through the ringer a little bit, but it's a good thing. It keeps you on your toes. And I think overall it's a very enjoyable movie. It's one that I'm going to be watching again and again. Um,
definitely.
and everybody
This
else should too as well. And get on ScreamBox. It's a great service. Um,
absolutely, man. This is the kind of movie that you could have friends over and go, watch this. Grab
yeah,
some snacks, hunker
yep,
down, come and watch this, man. This is going to be fun. You're going to enjoy this. Definitely one of those films.
yeah. And it's a short movie too. It's about an hour and 22 minutes, so just a little
It's
bit.
exactly that. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly that.
So it's a short one. It's straight to the point. It's crazy. The effects are great. It's gross. It makes you feel really gross. Yeah, it's a great one.
Yeah.
I guess we could probably do our ratings right now, Dean. Do you feel comfortable of giving it a rating, or would you want to watch it again before you were to give it?
Oh, I reckon I could give it a rating.
All right, what would you give it out of 10?
Hmm. Ooh, do you know what? I'm going to be really generous with this. I'm not going to give it full out 10 out of 10 marks because I feel that there are a few little bits that are. I mean, I wouldn't say confuse me because it's a it's not it's a batshit movie.
Yeah, it's bonkers as
Um,
hell.
but there are a few little bits where I feel like a few screws could have been tightened here and there. But I don't know, man. I for originality, imagination, set design, costume design, it's so different and unique. I definitely a 9 out of 10, man. I would watch it. I would 100% watch it again and 100% introduce it to other people and say, check this out. This is a great movie. I love the fact it's an Argentinian movie. I love the fact it's different. I love the fact they've created this whole universe. These characters that could be comic book characters, they could be figures, they could be. They left it wide open for a part two,
Oh yeah.
and I hope it continues. Yeah, man. Not many films, can do that. Leave you with all that, and just the way I don't know, like the whole heads in the sand thing was so like trippy and freaky. It's like a nightmare dream, like a dream. And I love stuff like that. I've always been a fan of dreamscape, weird movie. Like I'm a huge fan of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise and all this the dream sequences where it just goes off on some weird trippy tangent. I'm a huge fan of stuff like that. And this definitely ticked all those boxes and scratched that itch for me. So yeah, definitely. I don't know, just I think I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think maybe there were a few scenes where I was a little bit confused, but I don't know. So I'm going with a 9 out of 10, man.
Yep, I'm right there with you. 9 out of 10. I do feel like there was maybe something that could have been added to it to maybe give it a 9.5. But yeah, just for straight up originality and for how bonkers this movie is, and just how I guess carefree a lot of these characters are with like what's going on, that is kind of going with it. And I kind of feel like that would be something that might happen in the real world. You just be like, well, I'm kind of thrown this hand. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah,
So we're gonna stick together, but whatever happens, I guess happens, and we're gonna have to deal with it.
yeah,
So yeah, 9 out of 10 for sure. It's a rewatchable movie.
yeah,
Very original. Gets you thinking, and that's a really really good thing.
yeah. It
And
does.
yeah, I love it, man. 1 second, Dean. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on it. As 9 out of 10 for sure. So Dean, if you have any last remarks on this, you got
Yeah,
the
I
floor.
think I think where it just could have been. I think there's just a slight bit more of a resolve at the end, perhaps, rather than just walking down that path. We could have maybe I don't know, something could have happened where we're like, oh wow, she's here, this place, this. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I know it does leave you thinking, and she's
Yeah,
obviously on this barren road, just walking along into where is she? I guess it's cool that it leaves it open like that. But I
yeah,
think there's just a little bit more of an explanation as to who that character was, that Predator style character. But again, maybe that if they never make a part two, then I'll be like, come on. But I guess if they have left all these things open so they can explain it in a part 2, then props, you know.
Yeah,
But yeah, absolute badass movie, man.
for sure.
Badass.
And seriously, thank you to ScreamBox for allowing us to view this before anybody else, because this is awesome, and we would love to have more and talk about anything really. Horror is our lives, and this podcast is a dream come true. Seriously, I feel like I say that probably every episode of how much I enjoy doing the show, and especially having you over here, Dean, to do it with me, and for you to enjoy these things with me
Oh yeah,
is awesome. And
I love it, man. I love watching zombie vomiting punks, and I love seeing people puke in each other's faces and
yeah,
snap
head
heads
snapping,
off. Oh yeah,
decapitation, love it.
yes.
Yeah,
Um, I think we're gonna. We're looking to hopefully get the guys on as well, aren't we, to have a chat with them about the movie.
yeah, for sure. We're actually getting that set up. I think right now, so within the next coming weeks.
It's gonna happen. It's happening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's happening for sure. So look forward to that. It will probably be maybe the week after this is released, and remember that it's going to be released on August 30th on ScreamBox. It's an exclusive over there, and honestly, the subscription is worth it. I think it's $5 a month. If I'm correct, it's $4.99. So like $5. It's worth it, and there's a lot of really really cool shit that's going to be coming to ScreamBox as well, and we might be reviewing some of those movies as well, and
Yep.
that's awesome. So,
Get on the ScreamBox train, guys.
for
Guys and
sure.
girls. Get on the ScreamBox. Support these horror platforms. Get on board.
Yeah, do it now, and the more content there is, the better. I mean, there's a lot of shit out there to watch, and sometimes you don't get to it all, but I feel like that's a good thing because there's just so much out there for everybody. And especially as us horror fans, there's a lot of horror out
Yeah, bro.
there.
We
And
want more, man. These exclusives are great though because they are so. It's like they're not funded by huge studios, so there's no real limitations. It's just like they let them go wild with their creativity,
yeah,
and that is what's you want from horror directors. You don't want them to a big studio to go, no, too much gore, too much this, too much that. We want it more like this. You know, these you can tell like this film PussyCake, they've just gone go fucking wild, and they have, and that's what you want to see.
yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see people,
Yeah,
you go to their
so
full lengths,
yeah,
use
man.
your
That's and
imagination.
Shutter exclusives are great. They're churning out some great stuff, and now Screenbox gets to that level, which I'm sure with films like this, I'm sure it's gonna. Then we're gonna get more from those guys, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden we have just got so much cool shit out there.
And another reason to get Screenbox is Terrifier 2 is going to be an exclusive.
Oh
So I mean,
man,
you are missing out if you're like,
say
I'm
no
not going to go to
more.
Screenbox.
Say no more. Say no more.
So I think that's pretty much all I have left for this quick little review. And thank you to Screenbox. Really, this is an honor. Really,
We love you, Screenbox.
yeah, for sure. So this is us signing out. That was the Baron's Hideout podcast, and I was your host Dustin.
And I was your co-host, Dean.
And make sure you
Good
guys are
day.
jumping on Screenbox and watch this August 30th. Thank you guys so much.
Peace.